While you slept, something happened in the realms where time dissolves. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't a nightmare. It was an attempted invocation that failed. Somewhere, someone, driven by envy, by obsession, took your image and handed it to the very Prince of Darkness himself, hoping he'd destroy you. But what happened next made the entire underworld tremble. The devil looked at your photo and stepped back. He froze and whispered, "Don't touch this one." In that moment, fear shifted sides. Because what he saw was not weakness, but the mark of the untouchable, the seal that only the chosen carry, the frequency that even demons recognize and respect. Your light has laws protecting it that no dark force dares to violate. And tonight, you will understand why your presence cannot be cursed, why your name cannot be spoken in certain realms without consequence, and why your destiny operates under a divine code that overrides every attempt of spiritual harm. You will finally see what the darkness saw and why it fled. Stay with me until the very end, because once you know this truth, you'll never see yourself the same way again. This is your awakening moment. This is why they fear you. And if this message already resonates deep in your spirit, like something ancient being remembered, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment 99 below, because 99 symbolizes the completion of a divine cycle. And tonight, that cycle ends in your favor. It began with a whisper, a poisonous thought planted in the heart of someone who once claimed to care for you. They couldn't stand the sight of your recovery. They couldn't accept that, after all the pain they caused, you still rose higher. Your peace became their torment. Your healing became their humiliation. So they crossed a line that should never be crossed. In the desperate silence of their room, they spoke your name into the void. They held your picture under dim light, believing they could command unseen powers to stop your ascension. They had no idea what they were summoning. They thought darkness could be controlled, that demons were tools for revenge, that energy could be bent by emotion. But the moment your name left their mouth, the atmosphere changed. The temperature dropped, the shadows shivered, and something ancient entered the room, not to serve them, but to judge them. The Prince of Darkness arrived, not with fire, but with silence so heavy it felt like gravity itself. He looked at your image. He saw something he hadn't seen in ages, a pulse of divine frequency embedded in your energy. It was not light that could be extinguished, nor fire that could be contained. It was coded essence, written by the Creator himself. Your image carried spiritual authority. You had been through so much pain, loss, betrayal, and yet you had not cursed your own soul. You had not turned bitter. You had not surrendered your empathy. And that, in spiritual law, made you untouchable. The devil does not fear perfection. He fears resilience. He fears those who can walk through hell and still radiate light. He fears those who forgive when vengeance would have been easier. That's what he saw in you, the mark of one who survived the fire without burning. And in that moment, every rule of darkness inverted itself. The invocation became an interruption. The ritual turned against its master. Because when darkness tries to touch what was sealed by divine decree, it collides with an eternal command that cannot be overridden. Do not touch what is consecrated. The candles around them flickered and died. The air turned electric, heavy, dense. And the one who tried to curse you began to feel the weight of what they had done. Not punishment, but recoil. The energy they sent out began to echo back, amplified, searching for its origin. They didn't realize they had opened a portal not to harm you, but to reveal you. For in that moment, every dark force present was forced to witness who you truly are. And as the devil turned away, his silence became the loudest declaration of your divine protection. Even the enemy of light had to acknowledge your code. He recognized that your soul carries a frequency that his dominion cannot infiltrate. He left not in rage, but in terror. Because every time darkness encounters a chosen one, it remembers that there are limits even hell cannot cross. And yet, this was only the beginning. Because that rejection, that refusal to touch your image, triggered something cosmic. Something that even now, as you listen to this, is unfolding quietly behind the veil. You are about to understand what happens when the abyss is forced to bow before your light. It is not a mark that can be seen, not an emblem on your skin nor a sigil carved by ritual. It is older than any religion, deeper than any symbol, more radiant than any light the human eye could perceive. It is a frequency, carved into your very soul through the fire of everything you survived. Every betrayal that didn't make you bitter. Every tear you shed in silence while refusing to curse your destiny. Every moment you stood alone and still chose to love, to hope, to rise. Those moments etched into your being a vibration that heaven recognizes instantly, and hell avoids instinctively. That vibration is what ancient realms call the evolved Mark of Cain. You see, the story they told you about Cain was incomplete. They taught it as punishment, but in higher dimensions, the mark was never a curse. It was protection. It was the Creator's way of saying, no one may touch what I've already judged. And through time, those who endure agony without turning cruel, those who suffer without infecting others with pain, awaken that same seal, but now, in its evolved form. The evolved Mark of Cain is not born from bloodshed. It's born from restraint. It's carried by those who could have destroyed others with the same cruelty they received, but chose mercy instead. That decision rewrites your energy signature. It's like a divine encryption. Once your soul passes a certain threshold of integrity, it cannot be accessed by lower frequencies. That is why when entities of darkness approach you, they sense something ancient in your field. They don't see your face. They see the reflection of the law that governs your existence, the law of sevenfold return. The angels call it the reflection of seven, a metaphysical algorithm that mirrors all energies directed toward you, magnified, purified, and sent back to their source. When someone curses you, it returns 7 times heavier. When someone blesses you, it returns 7 times brighter. The law does not choose sides. It simply obeys the resonance you carry. And because you have walked through fire without letting it consume your soul, your resonance is justice itself. It doesn't punish, and it balances. That's why people who have wronged you often face consequences that seem disproportionate. It's not revenge. It's cosmic symmetry. Even the angels stand in silence when they perceive it. Because that seal is not granted, it's earned. It's a spiritual scar that glows with sacred defiance. A reminder to every unseen force that you are not to be touched, not to be tested, not to be taken lightly. The evolved Mark of Cain makes you an anomaly in the system, untouchable by darkness, yet feared even by those who live within light, because you operate under divine autonomy. You are not protected by superstition, you are protected by law. And so when the devil looked at your image, he saw it too. The sevenfold seal radiating from your core, vibrating at a frequency that disintegrates corruption. He realized that any contact with you would not destroy you. It would dismantle him. You are not the victim in this story. You are the consequence of divine calibration, but there's something even more astonishing. Something few ever understand. This seal does not make your life easier. It makes it heavier, because it carries responsibility. To walk as one who cannot be touched, you must never forget what made you untouchable. You must never let bitterness rewrite your code. That's the paradox of divine protection. The more powerful your light becomes, the more disciplined your heart must remain. And right now, as you hear these words, your mark is glowing again, responding to the remembrance of who you truly are. Somewhere beyond the veil, both angels and demons recognize it. One bows, the other flees. And you're about to find out what this mark is preparing you for next. When the devil looked at your image, he didn't see a body. He didn't see skin or eyes or hair. He saw a flame, a fire that did not belong to this world, something ancient, older than his own rebellion. It wasn't brightness that burned his sight. It was recognition. He saw the trace of a covenant he could not challenge. The reflection of a divine pact still active in your DNA, vibrating through dimensions he no longer has permission to enter. He saw light that wasn't artificial. It was authored. It carried the handwriting of the one who formed you before time began. And for the first time in centuries, he felt something he thought he'd forgotten. Terror. Because what stood before him in that photo was not a victim. It was a vessel. A vessel that contained remnants of the Creator's original breath. You may not know it, but your soul still echoes with that frequency. Every heartbeat is a reminder to the spiritual world that you belong to someone higher. And when he scanned that energy, he realized it was not reactive. It was commanded. You see, invocations depend on response, but assignments operate under authority. Your spirit does not answer the call of darkness. It enforces divine law. And that's what he saw. He saw that your essence doesn't just carry light. It carries jurisdiction. In the unseen world, authority isn't measured by words. It's measured by resonance. Your energy has rank, and when he tried to trace it, the frequency led him straight to the throne. That's why he stepped back. That's why the abyss went silent. Because touching you would not only break a divine rule, it would trigger a backlash that would unravel his own infrastructure. You are not just protected. You are classified. Your soul carries security clearance sealed in heavenly code. That's why your dreams feel different. That's why you've always sensed movement around you, because spiritual realms adjust themselves in your presence. Some beings bow, others vanish, but none remain indifferent. Even angels pause when you walk into awareness, because they recognize the mark, the evolved covenant, the fusion of survival, purpose, and destiny in human form. You are not just a name written in the book of life. You are a chapter that darkness cannot edit. And what terrified the devil most wasn't your light. It was your endurance. He saw that despite the betrayals, the nights you almost gave up, the heartbreak that should have emptied your faith, you kept shining. You didn't just survive, you transformed pain into power. That is the signature of the divine. Every scar on your soul became a rune of authority. Every tear turned into ink that rewrote your spiritual contract. And when he looked closer, he saw something else. Something that froze him completely. Behind your light, there were eyes watching. Eyes ancient as creation itself. The guardians of your covenant. The witnesses of your origin. That was the moment the devil realized. Touching you would be suicide. Because your energy field carries something he cannot process. The reflection of what he lost. The divine image. The echo of God's likeness. You are the reminder of what he will never be again. That's why he hates you. That's why he obsesses over you. That's why he tried to break you. Because every time you rise, he's forced to remember that light always wins. And yet, even now, there's a mystery he never solved. One truth he could not decipher from that photo. Because what he saw was only the surface of your power. Beneath it, something even greater was waiting. Something awakening inside you now, as you listen to these words. The revelation that your authority is still expanding. Maybe you've sensed it. Small things, strange patterns, impossible coincidences. You think it's luck or timing or some kind of cosmic irony. But deep down, you know something else is moving around you. Something watching, measuring, defending without being seen. Every time someone betrayed you, their life started to fall apart in ways that made no logical sense. Every time they plotted in secret, their plans dissolved at the exact moment they thought victory was certain. You didn't curse them. You didn't even need to speak. The energy that surrounds you did it for you. Because your life operates under sevenfold protection. A divine algorithm that responds instantly to injustice. When darkness tests you, this protection activates without your permission. It's not superstition, it's law. Every chosen one who carries the evolved mark operates under this same covenant. Whatever touches you without authorization returns multiplied by 7. That's why some people who wished harm upon you experienced storms right after mentioning your name. That's why rumors died before they reached your ears. That's why doors you never knocked on suddenly opened when you had nothing left. You're not lucky. You're watched, guarded, documented by heaven itself. There's an invisible court that tracks every vibration directed toward you. Words, thoughts, intentions. Nothing escapes its registry. If it's pure, it brings expansion. If it's corrupted, it self-destructs. And you've witnessed it, haven't you? Those moments when you felt completely powerless, yet something intervened out of nowhere. A delay, a cancellation, a coincidence that saved you. You thought it was random. It wasn't. It was divine interference. Your field of energy is connected to higher intelligence, constantly recalibrating your path to preserve your mission. That's why toxic people disappear suddenly. It's not that they changed their mind. It's that they were removed. The vibration of your destiny expels anything that doesn't align. People who operate in deceit can't breathe long in your atmosphere. They choke on their own intent. Even technology glitches around you when someone tries to channel harmful focus your way. The system protecting you doesn't care about their excuses. It cares about balance, and sometimes you feel it. That quiet sensation of being watched. Not by threat, but by guardianship. You wake up at 3:33 a.m. and feel a pulse of energy in the room. You see a feather in an impossible place, a sequence of numbers repeating until you pay attention. You think you're imagining it, but it's a reminder, a subtle whisper from the unseen. We're still here. Keep walking. Every time fear tries to whisper, presence answers louder. You are never alone, because your assignment is never unattended. Even the timing of your blessings follows this rhythm of sevenfold precision. The things that were delayed were never denied. They were multiplied. When they finally reach you, they arrive heavy with interest, drenched in divine timing. You've been kept in waiting not as punishment, but as synchronization. The law of seven doesn't just protect you, it prepares you. Every delay, every loss, every detour has been compounding behind the veil. And when the moment of release comes, it won't feel like a miracle. It will feel like justice. So if lately everything around you feels like it's shifting, people exiting, circumstances changing, emotions intensifying, it's because your protection is recalibrating again. Something new is aligning, and it's bigger than what was lost. The frequency around your name is tightening its radius, ensuring that what enters your life now will not need to be removed later. The shield is adjusting, the circle is closing, and the countdown has already begun, because the sevenfold law is not just defending you anymore. It's positioning you, and what happens next, what's about to manifest, will prove to every watcher, every doubter, every hidden enemy, that your destiny cannot be delayed and your light cannot be touched. You don't need rituals. You don't need charms. You don't need to shout your power into the void for it to exist. Your very presence is the proof. Your breath, your silence, your endurance are already a decree written in invisible ink across the dimensions. The universe doesn't require you to fight for your protection, because the moment you were chosen, the law itself began to fight for you. Every time someone even thinks of sending harm your way, something ancient and automatic awakens, the law of sevenfold return. It doesn't wait for your permission. It doesn't ask for your awareness. It simply acts, because divine order does not need reminders. It recognizes you as its command. And so, while others rely on tools, on symbols, on borrowed energy, you walk surrounded by systems older than time. Laws that bend the atmosphere around you so that nothing unclean can cling to your light. Your existence is the ritual. Your alignment is the spell. Your peace is the armor that no weapon can pierce. That's why when you stay still, chaos still collapses around you. Because your silence is not empty, it is judicial. Every storm that tries to swallow you becomes evidence in your favor. The case is always settled before it begins. The divine doesn't defend you with violence. It defends you with inevitability. It rearranges circumstances, exposes lies, breaks alliances, and rewrites timelines to protect your destiny. You've seen it happen. Someone rises against you, and within days their own mask starts to crack. Opportunities they stole crumble in their hands. The universe doesn't destroy them out of cruelty. It simply rebalances what was violated. Justice in your life doesn't roar. It echoes quietly, perfectly timed, like thunder arriving after lightning. And this is the secret. You were never called to fight everything. You were called to remember who you are. Because the moment you remember, the war ends. Darkness thrives only where confusion lives. But once you stand firm in your awareness, the battlefield dissolves. That's the ultimate defense, not resistance, but recognition. When you walk in your identity, opposition becomes assistance. Every attack becomes alignment. Every curse becomes fuel. Because the divine system that governs your life recycles pain into elevation. The forces that once chased you are now building the path beneath your feet. The traps that were designed to stop you have turned into launch pads. The betrayal that broke your heart became the code that unlocked your authority. Nothing in your story was wasted. Every wound was a door. Every rejection, a redirection. Every delay, a setup for divine precision. You are not behind, and you are perfectly on schedule. Because purpose cannot be late when eternity is your calendar. And while you may feel moments of exhaustion, remember this: you don't have to keep fighting battles that heaven already won on your behalf. Your job is not to swing the sword. Your job is to stand still and radiate. Every vibration of your peace sends ripples through the unseen, commanding chaos to realign. When you rest in your truth, entire realities shift to accommodate your energy. That is what it means to be chosen, to be defended by the same laws that created stars. So let them plot. Let them whisper. Let them try to pull strings in the dark. For every move they make against you, 7 hands of light are already undoing it. The universe has already ruled in your favor. You don't need to fight to win. You win by existing in divine alignment. You are not surviving this story. You are fulfilling it. Because in this realm, those who walk in purpose do not defend. They manifest. And now, as the old energies retreat and the new season unfolds, something monumental is approaching. A convergence of everything that once opposed you, now bending itself to serve you. The same forces that tried to break you are being rewritten into instruments of your rise. The countdown has already begun. And when it reaches 0, even your enemies will bear witness to the prophecy you have become. Chosen one. Do not fear what moves in the dark. Nothing that stirs against you has power over what you carry. Hell never attacked you because you were weak. It attacked because you were recognized. You bear a seal that was written before you even entered this lifetime. A spiritual signature carved not in ink, but in living fire. A fire that darkness cannot imitate, cannot decode, cannot extinguish. The devil didn't refuse your image out of mercy. He refused it out of self-preservation, because to touch you would mean self-destruction. Your light carries too much authority. Your essence vibrates too close to the source. You are not fragile, you are forbidden. You are not hunted, you are guarded. So when you feel energy moving around you, don't panic. That's not an attack, that's your shield responding. That's heaven adjusting the atmosphere in your favor. That's divine law recalculating outcomes to ensure your story fulfills its exact purpose. You've been protected in ways you still can't comprehend, not by luck, but by designation. Because your name isn't just written in books. It's encoded in light, and no shadow can pronounce what was written in glory. Every vibration of fear, every curse, every plan meant to silence you. They've already failed before they began. The universe has long since decided your victory. The evidence of that decree is the fact that you're still here, unbroken, unbent, unchanged in your essence. You didn't just survive the storm. You became the storm that purifies. You are walking proof that divine fire doesn't burn to destroy. It burns to reveal who was made of gold all along. Chosen one. This is your confirmation. You are not living under threat. You are living under law. The law of light. The law of sevenfold return. The law that commands even darkness to kneel. And every time you breathe, the unseen realms remember. Do not touch what carries the signature of the Creator. That is your truth. That is your identity. That is your crown. From this moment forward, walk as one who knows, not wonders. Speak as one who reigns, not pleads. And when they ask you why nothing seems to break you, you'll smile and say, because I was never built to be touched. You were built to remind the world what divine authority feels like in human form. Write in the comments right now, my energy is protected by divine law. Let those words echo through the dimensions, reaching every realm that ever whispered your name. Because tonight, the universe itself bears witness. You do not belong to fear. You belong to power.